All right, we are broadcasting now. You get the links out, and we'll be able to start sharing that.
Oh, we're doing live.
Yeah, well, it goes live, but I mean, we're gonna have maybe one person tune in.
Wow,
I'm not
see
too
how
worried.
I'm super delayed.
No, that's only to you.
Is it?
You might not be the smoothest, but you're not like problematically stuttery. No.
Yeah, and your audio is fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. The audio is good. Just your FPS is down.
Yeah.
All right. So everybody looks good on the stream if you're watching it. Tweet this out and then
everybody say here real quick.
Here.
Now the delay. Okay.
All right, excellent. So I'm gonna tag everybody on Twitter so you can just retweet that.
I was about to say, oh man, 3 people are watching us, but
it's probably us.
That's us.
I think I'm watching.
I think at least one is Rosie. So,
hi, Rosie.
Special shout outs.
I just added Gabby to the game so you guys can be friends. I'm just talking to Rosie. She's probably watching the stream.
Okay. I'm live for the new Trekking Through Trek podcast. Tonight I'm joined by a sci-fi guy, like a media, very lucid, White Triceratops, and Tech Man Blade to discuss Lower Decks Season 1, Episode 2, Envoys. YouTube link. Okay. All right, I'll start removing people from here. And we'll slowly add ourselves back. So Leo and Chris, last week we did a little bit of thing about, well, Chris knows because she was there, but we couldn't hear her. A little bit about what your history is with Star Trek, how long you've been a Star Trek fan, what it means to you, and just kind of a general intro. And since Chris didn't get to do that, we'll do that again for her. But obviously, Leo, you weren't here, so we'll do that for you as well. But for the rest of us, we'll just be ready. And if you want to say anything about Episode 1, go for it. We will be looking at the intro. Like I said, we're going to turn the audio off so we don't get zinged. But at that point, we can probably do some just kind of first impressions of Lower Decks and what we think about the intro and that kind of thing. So cool. All right, I'm going to remove everybody and add them back in. Welcome to Trekking Through Trek, a visual podcast where we warp through each episode of Star Trek until we all eventually sail on to Sto-Vo Kor. I'm your host, Nick Wright, and I'd like to introduce my co-hosts, Peter Stolmeyer.
Kaplop.
Well, there he goes again. He's gone. Kim Thompson.
Hello.
Leo Thompson.
Hi.
Chris Wright.
Hi.
And James Pinto.
Hello.
Thanks to everybody for showing up for this. It's kind of a soft reboot a little bit. We were using a different streaming software last time. It was just a lot more complicated, and Peter convinced me to go with something that's a lot more streamlined. So we're going to be hopefully having a little less trouble with the technical difficulties tonight, and just going to look cleaner all over. So speaking of technical difficulties, the last time Chris was on the show with us, but her audio was muted the entire time, so we could hear her, but the actual computer that was broadcasting the stream could not hear her. So we were just like, we'd be like, oh yeah, that's interesting, and there's complete silence. So that's another reason this is kind of a soft reboot. We actually have something to you can actually hear her tonight. So I would like to go ahead and start with Chris. And since we didn't get to hear that background from you last time, what's your history with Star Trek, and what were your first thoughts on Lower Decks?
I'll try to keep it brief. Basically, introduced to Star Trek by my father, and we used to watch it when I was a little child. It was the only thing they let me watch, like stay up late to watch, and I really enjoyed it, and I've been a fan ever since. And my feelings about the first episode, I wanted to keep trying, but the first episode was hard for me. I didn't like it as much as some people, but I love Tendi. I love Rutherford, and I think it gets better. So
yeah, sticking with it is definitely something that's rewarded for Lower Decks, and it's just like any other Star Trek show. Like the first season is going to have some hits and misses, but there's a lot of good stuff here, and some stuff that it may take you a little bit longer to actually get into. We also have Leo Thompson tonight. Welcome, Leo. Thanks for joining us.
Hey.
What's up?
Hi.
Hi. You want to talk a little bit about your history with Star Trek?
I mean, yeah. So I don't know. I've always, ever since I was a kid, been gravitated towards science fiction.
One might say that you were a sci-fi
Me?
guy.
My parents were Trekkies, but it was never really something that I watched. It was a show that was on in the background. I didn't hate it, but it wasn't. I don't know. I guess it was. It was there. And it wasn't really until Enterprise came out, and I started watching it like as it came out, episode by episode, and that Enterprise was the show that actually I had seen tons and tons of Star Trek, but that was the show that got me into Star Trek.
Wow!
And yep,
true faith of the heart.
and
That's terrible.
it's been a long road.
it has. Since then, have seen all of it. Animated series, every single bit of it.
Man, so yeah, I gotta. If nothing else, I have to hand it to Enterprise for getting you into Star Trek, because that's enriched my life personally. So being into Star Trek has been great for me. So thanks, Enterprise. It has been a long road getting from there to here.
Every time.
Yeah.
I
I
used to hate the song, and I kind of, I don't know, it's grown on me.
Yeah, because
on you like
you're-
mushroom, like a
You're right.
mycelial network. I'm sorry, I tried.
I don't like that song either, but that joke has never not been funny. Like we
No,
make it
it's
every time, and it's funny every time. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's fair. Yeah, just Leo makes that joke a lot.
Every time. All right.
Gotta have faith.
Yeah. But speaking of theme songs that are not bad, Lower Decks, which I didn't want to actually play the theme song because I don't know if we can get away with that on YouTube or not. There's,
Probably not.
Probably not. But we do have the video. So, one thing we didn't do in the first episode, which we probably should have done, is to just talk about the visuals of the intro and, what kind of stuff it led us to believe from Lower Deck.
God, what order did this come out before Picard? Or did Picard come
Mhm.
before? I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure
I
this
think
was
it
Lower
came out
Decks came
before Picard.
first.
Did it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I might run it through it again if we wanted to, just because it seemed like we
No,
picked up on it.
All I
Yeah.
want to say is that it's just
The theme song itself is not bad. I mean, it's definitely a bit Star Trek derivative, but I think it's fine.
I think.
Yeah, I
the
think that's
fact
what they were
that
going
it
for.
Is,
Yeah, I think that's what they were going for. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm. Yeah.
definitely.
But yeah, I think
And
that it really achieved the goal. I mean, and obviously it was, like I said, more appropriate to Star Trek, let's put it that way, than the Enterprise theme.
yeah.
I will agree with that.
Yeah.
I maintain the Enterprise theme is great if you play the the music from the end of First Contact.
Or just the end theme. The end theme's fine.
Yeah,
Like,
even
you
the
know,
end theme. Yep. Mhm.
recently
Hard-
there was a piece in Discovery where, you know, something related to Enterprise happened, and they played a little bit of the end theme, and they're like, "Oh man, I didn't know I had emotions about the Enterprise ending theme."
Every time they talk about Enterprise, they use Archer's theme. So
It's
they're basically
Archer's
retconning
theme,
it.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, they're retconning it to be that's the theme. But
I mean,
the
it
other
was gonna be, and then someone had a brilliant idea.
we don't talk about the long road.
but
Oh, no.
Oh man. All
do you know
right,
the Faith
so-
of the Heart song, James?
Not at all.
Yeah,
Oh,
okay.
well,
Let's plan to do that next next time.
yeah.
there is a little bit of relevance here. Is just that every other version of Star Trek has had no lyrics unless you count Space, the Final Frontier, and then
Sure.
Enterprise just had a '90s, even though it was a 2000s show, just had a '90s like
Pop
band
song.
play pop
Mhm.
song with some guitars and stuff, and lyrics. And one of the lyrics is "I got faith of the heart, going where my heart will take me. It's been a long road, getting from there to here."
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's inexplicably in there. It's just kind of weird. Like if you watched like one of the Marvel movies and you knew it was going to be just a real serious Marvel movie and it just played the newest pop hit. That's basically how it rolled.
Yeah, it's not incorrect. It wasn't pop. It was like
It was like
kind of country, kind of pop, kind
Yeah,
of.
it was
rock.
I'd argue that's why I said the 90s, because that's what pop sounded like in the 90s, and then they
Yeah.
decided no more of that.
And it was originally like I had heard it before because Rod Stewart had recorded it, but we didn't get the
Yeah.
Rod Stewart version for Enterprise. We just got, you know, like I think it was like the original person who did it, but
possibly.
not the one you were thinking of. But it still sounded like Rod Stewart, so that was not
All
the
right,
tone that we expected.
When we get to Enterprise at this rate in 50 years, when we get to
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, speaking of time and the passage of it, you know, I've got, you know, and last time I did slides and I did too many slides, and I hate to tell you again, but I got too many slides. But that'll just, you know, we'll move forward and you know, we'll you know, bring up what you want to bring up. This is another episode for me that kind of started in a like Rick and Morty-ish way.
Yeah.
And you know, not quite as much as the first episode, because the first
Yeah,
episode
it was not nearly as just like over the top.
I'll be the
yeah.
I'll be the contrarian and say I don't agree, only because the gods used to show up like this a lot.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
There
it's
had to
it's-
be
it's
lame
making
ones.
a valid joke. It's just doing
Yeah.
it in a Rick and Morty way.
This
Yeah.
had to have happened to Kirk, like straight up, just like this, because so many gods came to his ship that at some point he must have been like, "Give me you."
And it comes across that Mariner like is being unethical and is just messing with it. But at the end of the day, she got it to lower its power level and to be so small that it wasn't a threat. So
Well, and these sort of non-corporeal aliens, I think, are a staple of Star Trek. They've appeared in
Absolutely.
like each series.
But by the next gen era, this level of god, you gotta be
just happens. You run
oh
into
no,
it.
we got gods. You get the broom and stuff. I'm just
We were watching
we're
it
talking
earlier.
about
Get
Rick
outta
and Morty
here.
versus what
Yeah.
what would be believable in a Star Trek comedy show.
Mhm.
Like I don't know, maybe Rick and Morty's pulling a Star Trek on this one.
Oh, I'm
That's what
sure.
trying to say.
Yeah.
And I would say that this kind of leans into the idea of it sets the tone for the episode of how she acts throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
Mhm, yeah.
Which we do get a little more Mariner character development in this one, but it is, you know, you got to start off with, this is the wild and crazy ensign. And it was funny because Chris and I were watching this earlier, and Chris is like, "What episode was this an allusion to?" And I was like, "Several." It's got to be, you know, like how, like which ones was it not? Because there's stuff like this. I don't know if this was based on one specific thing, but there were definitely stuff like this.
This is just them having to deal with it, and this is going to go back to my argument of people who don't like member berries. Oh, you're just making references. If you're gonna make a planet that has like little Italy and little China, why would you make those aliens up? Why would you do that? So like this planet should have aliens we recognize. That's the point, not some kind of like oh, remember this? It should just those should be the aliens that are on the planet.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm kind of disappointed when there's a new Star Trek show and they're like, okay, well, here's all these extra new aliens that we had the fun of making up, but what about the Romulans and the Klingons?
See,
And,
I'm just
yeah.
saying that's how you get the what are they called in Voyager that I hated?
Kazon,
Kazon.
Yeah, them.
fake Klingons,
Okay.
Yeah, no, they were
Yeah,
so
the
great
bad.
value Klingon.
The Kmart Klingons, yeah.
Yeah.
I think Kmart Klingons could have been pretty effective if they had done them properly.
Agreed.
I'm a
Yeah.
big fan of something that's super popular. Just you're so bad at it, honey. Oh no. Like Kylo Ren is like the perfect example. Like he is a serious threat, but he is God, dude. Like
Yeah.
you're not even anywhere near that level. And that's like the plot, right?
Yeah,
So they
Yeah.
could have done that and they didn't.
yeah,
I mean, to an extent, the Ferengi were like that. They intended the
Mhm.
Ferengi to be
yeah.
new
Ferengi were the
menacing
new
villains.
Klingons.
Yeah,
Which they could have
and
been.
then they threw them away in Next Gen and then brought them back in DS9 as like three-dimensional complex
Mhm.
characters with story arcs.
Oh yeah.
Like what? That's
Rel-
how you make
relevant
a
to this
good
episode.
character?
Yeah, true.
Mhm.
Yeah, and
you
they
know-
became the greedy space capitalists as well. So a
The,
little bit of pushback against the stage of capitalism we all live in now.
I didn't realize that. Yeah, I am defending the theme of the episode. I didn't realize the theme, which is I do this every day. Like
Mhm.
keep up. This
Yeah.
happens a lot.
Mhm.
Move on. I'm not letting this dude ruin my day. It's
Yeah.
kind of the
Mhm.
whole point.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly.
Yeah, and she forces it to make her a tricorder with the purple stripe, which I know Peter's passionate about that.
It is my
I love one
favorite
of
joke.
these. Yeah.
We all know that
Yeah.
makes things superior.
It
It makes them faster. Yeah.
It updates
It's
the
not
processing
only
power by like
does it
30%.
have a purple stripe, but it has a purple hinge piece.
Mhm.
Oh yeah,
Like, I love that. That's great.
Mhm.
Leo, as a reminder, I gave you one of these. I printed one of these.
Oh,
and ran it through the
yeah.
smoother.
Brought it out
Just better.
earlier today and showed me. Mhm.
It still needs some adjustment and some painting and whatnot. Oh yeah, that's gonna happen.
When we did our D&D adventure, Linkara had a tricorder, and I just threw the purple stripe on there and didn't say a word about it. So, like, that's what I want Real Trek to do. I want at some point, like, not Data specifically, you get it, but the newest super high tech guy pulls out a tricorder, it's got a stripe on it, and they don't say anything about it. I really want to see that happen. And
Yeah,
I love this battery thing. This is actually really clever. If he's turning one molecule into another, it's going to take a lot of power, and
Mhm.
turning molecules back into energy is going to take even more. So
Yeah.
I thought this was a really clever way of doing the whole thing.
It's very
Like-
visceral the way that he had to work to produce that too.
Yeah, a
Squeezed
bad
it
version
out.
of this joke. A bad version of this joke would be they made the tricorder and then she also asked for a phaser, right? Like, no, you make the tricorder and he makes it without the battery, and you can go over there and get a battery right now, but you're like,
Right.
no.
No, you're making it.
And I do think it's interesting that at the end of the scene, the tiny little mote goes into the captain, and that just gets dropped. It's not mentioned
Mhm.
again in
Well,
this episode.
I'm curious if it's something that will come up at some future point, maybe.
So,
Like,
Maybe.
so I
maybe
think
not, but
it's possible, but I think the idea of the show is that, like, when there's the A plot and the B plot,
yeah,
and this show follows the B plot.
yeah, yeah.
Like
So
somewhere else on the ship, the captain is dealing with, whoever is dealing with. That's
Yeah.
the main plot of
She-
the episode.
she
That's
got
not where we
possessed.
are.
Yeah, she got possessed and was shooting lightning out of her hands and stuff upstairs. Nobody cares. It's
Yeah.
fine. But I can tell you this, much like in real life, you know how like when things are super almost impossibly improbable in our universe, there's enough time and enough matter that anything that's improbable will become probable given enough time. That's how life started. Star Trek is kind of like that. Any reference at all will eventually become a major plot point in some other show. It might, because it might take another 30 years. But this Larissa Marsh animated god guy is probably going to make a reappearance at some point on like Star Trek Crusher or something.
That wasn't Maurice Marsh. Nice.
Oh, is
I
it
knew
Maurice
I
LaMarche?
recognized it.
Well, I don't know that for sure. I recognize his voice. So
Yeah.
when I hear it, sometimes I'm wrong. I did not actually look it up.
Right there.
I do know a voice actor in this episode.
Oh, do you?
We'll bring it up when it gets there.
Okay, cool. All right, so yeah, we're more kind of, just kind of generally setting up this plot of like Boimler's excited because he gets to go on this mission and go and do important things, And clearly, Mariner's not very impressed with it, but she's got plans.
Can we talk about those shoes?
The shoes are great.
Oh my god, the shoes!
I noticed for the first time today that Tendi has white shoes.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's a part
But-
of medical.
but just trying to figure out how to do cosplay of that, like with the print on the bottom
They
in
do.
a way
Okay.
that actually like gets good traction. Like,
No.
They're not beholden to us, but they knew this was going to cause us a problem. And when they did it, they most likely said, "Can't wait to see how they solve that because I'd like a pair."
And I
Right.
bet you people have figured it out. And yeah, no.
eh,
The easiest way to do it actually is to do a bulk order of custom made soles. Is the main way. Also, if I can just say, I like this look as a shoe. I like my shoes to have a colored sole that matches my shirt or matches my hat. So I think I'm wearing the red one today. So I got the red band and the red hat, and I'll have shoes that have just the red soles. That's my preference. That is super hard to get. So at this point, instead of being mad at them, I'm kind of mad at reality. Like that, why is this thing? Because you could just make them, and they're just like, nah, black or white. That's all you get.
Yeah. And why would you go with white? Because it's going to look dirty on
Or
the
that
next
weird brown color.
Oh yeah.
Mhm. But like they could make these, and they just choose not to. So hopefully there'll be a big enough push that eventually somebody in China will be able to manufacture them to say, I'll just take this Starfleet logo off it and make shoes because I want them in every color.
Okay, so next major plot point is what goes on with Rutherford and Tendi, and I love every single step of this entire plot thread.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, me too.
100%.
Like,
Including this particular picture where he oozes
I had to
out
witness
of
one.
the
Yeah.
bulkhead. Like, just ooze.
How many
Yeah,
how many people here have been Rutherford? I've been there, man.
where you're really excited about something that is super niche.
yeah, no, just
And
mundane.
no one else
like,
gets it.
Niche, yes. Mundane, maybe not.
I probably have.
friend
Yes,
of the
you
show,
have.
Paul.
You
I
and
were-
soldering.
That's me and Excel spreadsheets.
Excel spreadsheets, exactly. Friend of the show, Paul and I have an argument about this all the time because when we get new videos and we need to curate them, I like to put the manual touch to manually rename them, even if it's a 100-episode series. I like to go in there and get it just right and do that. And he's like, I want to automate all of this, and I'm like, the curation's the best part, and he's like, the finding it is the best part. I'm like, that part sucks. So yeah, I'm with him on this. Oh boy, I finally got those 100 episodes, and now I've got to rename every single one of them by hand. Can't wait. Doctor Who was the best. Doctor Who was a challenge, man. I also want to point out that this is their secret lair that we're looking at. It's basically the dark bridge. It's the dark bridge.
Yeah,
it's where
it's
they
true.
hang out
The lower
when
deck.
they're on duty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah, in the original premise of the show, the live action version from Next Gen, they didn't have their own layer. So this is the introduction of their cool place where everything's broken and they get to fix it on their own time.
Yeah, it's like some abandoned cargo bay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got Boimler heading out to go on his mission, and he's getting, super full of himself and ready to go.
I love
Klingon
the dress
dignitary.
uniforms.
Yeah.
And my only critique is that in Next Gen they didn't wear pants, but also I have one of those kind of uniforms, and I wear pants because
No,
Did
they do.
No.
Yeah,
With
they
the
wear
dress
pants.
uniforms, they do.
The
You-
scant
you-
they didn't.
The
That's
the
scant
they
they
did not.
didn't.
you're right. The scant they don't. My
The
bad.
dress uniform
It would have been
was
great
super
if they
long.
did with the dress uniforms.
Yeah. What
We
was
bear our
weird is
legs
that
in tribute to you.
they decided to fix it in the first season. They wore long ones, and then they made them more reasonable jacket kind of things. And for some reason, they left a line in where Worf didn't like them because he thought they looked like dresses, but they had fixed it. So, I don't know. I've always wanted to find out why they did that. I would have just cut the line,
Maybe Klingon dresses are just really short.
possibly.
Do Klingons even wear? No, yes, they do, because didn't they wear dresses in Undiscovered Country?
They're awful close to cloaks, though. They're almost like superhero style tails.
So
Yeah.
I'm just imagining. You remember Lursa and Bator had the boob window. So
I remember.
on a Klingon skirt, they have a butt cheek window in the back.
Let's make some hot cross buns.
You know what? I'm not mad at that idea.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, he gets on board, and obviously Mariner's there, and she's just made a complete friggin' mess with
And
her.
how is she already
Apparently
eaten?
ramen
She's on
noodles?
her third cup of ramen noodles.
No,
Well, I think she poured it into the bowl.
Mhm.
no,
Okay, so maybe
no,
two.
she didn't. No, she didn't. We know this character well enough now. She went, computer, give me a bowl of already eaten ramen. And then she poured it on the desk and dropped the cup
Yes.
and waited for him to come in to grab a bite. That's what she
I
did.
really
No,
do
that's
feel
what she
like
did.
she is messing with Point
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Possible.
Absolutely.
I mean, like the whole thing is messing with Boimler. But
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
This would have really annoyed me at one point, but now I have a desk that is all glass with a screen on it. And yeah, I eat on it and I spill ramen on it all the time. So now I'm like, oh, I'm getting called out a little bit when I used to say not cool. Now I'm like, yeah, that's how it is.
I definitely think it's more in character for her to be doing this purposely to mess with him versus just being a messy eater.
Mhm.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
knows what she's doing. She's able to
Mhm.
control herself when she.
She didn't need 3
Absolutely lost
cuppas. She poured
No.
she poured it out. She didn't even ask for full cups. She said, I want used ramen.
Look, she even left him one, so you know.
Yeah.
That's exactly what's happening.
Yeah, that's why that third one's untouched. So back to Rutherford's plot.
oh,
You know,
just the switch every single time of you're amazing. We love having you here. We absolutely support you in doing whatever your heart like. I want this work environment
Yes.
so badly.
mhm.
Yes.
I just
Oh,
I don't
gotcha.
understand the joke on this one, like with the making it all dark and like impending and like he's gonna be upset and then he's not.
I
Like,
think that's the joke on reality. I think
Yeah.
it
Only
is-
Starfleet would do this, but Starfleet would actually do this.
it's a
is
simple
exactly
joke,
how
but
it
it's
would
just
roll.
like I don't know, it just kind of falls flat to me and then they do it again and I'm just like okay, again, cool.
That Starfleet supports each other. And Kim, I would argue that we do that for each other all the time.
See, we do that for each other, but I've been in situations where
Mhm.
if you wanted to do something different, they got mad at you.
They-
because
they
then
weren't
then it
Starfleet.
created a
especially
problem.
especially if you were good at it, because that means they had to
Yeah.
find someone to replace you.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
They're
you're
not
so good at
Starfleet.
begging
That's the
groceries.
point.
Why would I
No,
let you
that's
be
the
a
joke.
cashier?
Mhm.
Huh?
Yeah, and absolutely that is the future I want.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Like
that's kinda Go ahead.
there are a lot of jobs that like just you get stuck in a rut and they just
Mhm.
they want to keep you in that rut. And so to have like a work environment that's like, oh cool, you really enjoy this thing, we support that. I love that.
Mhm.
Yeah,
It's
Yeah,
that's lovely.
kind
Something
of a
else.
positive spin on the actual improvements. Like this show makes fun of Star Trek a lot, but this is one of the great things about Star Trek
Mhm.
is that you can actually move around from position to position just based
Oh.
on your own interests.
I kind
I
of
was
get the
gonna
impression that this
say-
is all James knows about the show. He's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously. They were supposed to pull you in with this. We knew, but you weren't supposed to know. But I kind of feel like it worked the other way.
No, I mean like it I get it. It just it falls flat to me and then
Well, so
and then they
that's
do
one
it
of the
again.
things. That's one of the things about this show is it's not just a comedy show. It's also a good Star Trek show. And not every necessarily thing is meant to be a punchy joke. This is more one of those things where it's leaning on this is what the world of Star Trek is like.
Mhm.
I've gotten a direct message from Rosie. I don't know why she's commenting from here, but she says that that's where the sci-fi comes in. The work environment doesn't exist. That's the science fiction, to her.
Yeah.
Not the
Wow.
spaceship,
Just
the work
Yeah.
environment. Which
Oh,
I
yeah.
should point out at this point, watching this today was kind of weird because I just told you guys today the same words. I'm going to go and find a new career, and you guys went, "That's great." Like that actually happened today. And I'm actually hoping the job I'm hoping for, actually, I hope will put me in a rut. I hope they will have me learn one thing and just leave me alone. And I will
Yeah.
just reroute conduits all day. And then I will be too dispensable for them to get rid of, is what I'm hoping to do.
Yep.
Mhm. So we're back to blames, and I love this shot. It's like it says so much about their characters.
Yeah.
This is not a reference to that handshake we know. What they're saying is that Beckett is the kind of person that would unironically handshake with an Apollo Creed looking dude. She is the kind of person that would greet somebody like that, is what they're trying to say.
Well, and apparently they have a history and
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
the secret handshake already.
Have you ever greeted anybody the Schwarzenegger Apollo Creed way? Ever? Even as a joke? I've never done that.
I definitely done it as a joke.
But he's
Okay,
a
remind
Klingon.
me.
It's not a
Remind me. I
con.
want to do it.
Okay.
But he's a Klingon. That's not an uncommon
I feel like I've
greeting
seen
for
Klingon.
Klingons.
Yeah, I feel like have Klingons done that in the show at some point. I bet they have.
So I'm curious, James, what did you think of this introduction?
I mean, it was on brand for Klingons, and like the only part of it that was kind of like weird was that when in the earlier scene he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna get to like transport this cool guy." Like she didn't say anything at that point about knowing him. It was like, "Oh, now I'm gonna silently invite myself onto this trip just to instigate things even more."
There is a level of Brad that's worth mentioning that he does legitimately suck. He does, because he is making assumptions that are wrong. He's walking in saying it's not the trip down that's the point. It's that he's acting like it's one thing and she knows it's another. So she's like, oh, she looked it up and she was like, oh shit, he's going with Gary. I'll just show up. And from this moment on, every choice he makes, everyone around him, not even Beckett, goes, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like all of them do that. That's one of the themes, that he needs to learn to not do that. That's why she's adopted him. She's abusive. She needs to do it better. But Brad is like
he's book
almost
smart,
unfit
not
for duty. Yeah. Like he went through all that training and he's so like I mean no offense to Harry. But Harry Kim is definitely more qualified than Brad on his first day, because we got to see his first day dealing with the Ferengi. We know that he is capable on dealing with weird aliens. He screws it up multiple times where other Starfleet officers wouldn't. I'm just saying. I'm not defending Beckett. She needs to go to therapy, but Brad needs to get beat up. He's going to die. He's going to be living on an asteroid somewhere, or he's going to be a red shirt on some episode if he doesn't shape up.
Yeah. That is what came into my head of he is just the red shirt right now, and something needs to change.
And this scene doesn't prove my point, but by the time we get to the end of it, there's a couple of them I noticed where I was like, people turn and go, dude, when it's supposed to be a joke that, oh, you misunderstood, but it's like, how many times are you going to misunderstand in a row, right? While just regular street people are outsmarting you. I don't know.
This also, I was going to mention, this is the voice actor I was talking about. This is Jess Harnell.
The voice actor of Wacko Warner, amongst other things.
Tons of other things.
No, Wacko first, everything else second. That's
exactly.
So I actually worked for his uncle for a long time. Company I worked for, Jess Harnell's uncle was the owner.
And we ran into him a couple of times.
So yeah, the Harnells are people that I've
that's nice.
known for.
Yeah, and he's a delight to
oh, absolutely. Yeah. No, he's very delightful.
I've only met him once, and he's one of the rare people that I actually paid the money for. Got the photo, got the autograph. He signed my Wacko pillow, which I now have to get because I've mentioned it.
Yeah, I think for me in this one, Boimler, it's pointing at that Boimler is too in his head. And I think, was it Kim, you said, like, he's going to get himself killed?
It was Peter. But
it was Peter? Okay, sorry. But yeah.
He's a red shirt waiting to happen.
Yeah, and I think just him not being able to... Oh, nice.
Nice.
I believe it says from one Wacko to...
Still, I believe you.
Peter, you're Wacko. Just so and he spelled my name correctly and his name correctly, because I do CK and Wacko does KK.
Nice.
And this was in that same display case, so kind of fitting today.
Yeah.
It's a piggy bank. I love this thing.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
that's great.
perfect.
Ferengi piggy bank layers, man. Layers.
Very thematic.
They spray painted this gold when Quark thought he was in heaven, and they needed
Oh.
some props for they
Oh,
just
really?
bought
They,
this
they just
at the same time I did. I bought this in like '96, and so did they, and they spray painted it gold and put it on the set.
Wow.
That's
That's fantastic.
fantastic.
All right. So getting back to the show, yeah, basically Mariner gets drunk with the Klingon and he gets really wasted and steals their shuttlecraft.
Yes, and
And
drunk
leaves them.
Klingons are going to do what drunk Klingons are going to do, and that's pretty
Exactly.
much what she like. Oh, yeah, that happened. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, and she's like, yeah, that's what they do.
Honor's kind of a nebulous concept for Klingons. You know, it's honorable to steal a ride when you're drunk. They're those kinds of people. It's okay. I was drunk. Is totally an excuse for the Klingons.
I think it's more it's not something that shows strength or lack of strength, so it doesn't matter. Like honor is not necessarily
I think
telling
you're
the
right.
truth in Klingon
Yeah.
culture. It is showing strength and showing strength where it is needed, like backing your family or
Mhm.
backing a blood brother and stealing
Mhm.
shit. That just happens. If you're the stronger one, you take it. Okay.
To make the crazy argument, it's probably perfectly safe to drive a car while drunk in Star Trek. Like seriously, it is
that's
self-driving.
true.
Well, I mean, he did run into a ship on the way out of here.
Yeah.
But there were not even any explosions.
Yeah,
It's
just bounced
fine.
right off. It's fine.
We should take just a second to answer Rosie's question. Originally, in the original series, the guys that got killed and they never even had names were red shirts. And then when they made the Next Generation, he said, "I'll take care of that," and he switched them from red to gold. That's why he did the switch. So in Next Generation, they're gold shirts that have
Yep.
no name and get killed. But we weren't fooled. So the name stuck, and they're still red shirts.
Yeah.
Isn't there like a chart of like the actual number
That's
of the
a cheating chart because it
shirts
uses it adds in the gold that was the red, dude. It adds in
Oh.
security gold for red when they made those numbers.
See, and
Yeah.
even at the end of the day, it's a trope. It doesn't matter whether it's based on reality or not, but
Well, I mean, no, it's just
the
you know,
idea of unnamed people die in sci-fi
Mhm.
shows.
it's just when Kirk, Spock, Bones, and Ensign
And Gary.
Gary
Gary.
joins them.
It's in Boimler.
like
Bradward.
They
Oh,
wouldn't know his first name,
No.
but that's why they do call it red shirts. And I can understand her confusion since he is in a red shirt. But yeah, that's what's going on.
Yeah, for sure. So they're on the Klingon. They're not on a Klingon planet, but they're on like I don't know, little Kronos or something like that.
Mhm.
They have to go and try to track this guy down.
It's fine.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, exactly.
oh, gacked. No, I would not drink.
look at
I
all
would not
those
eat that.
flavors of Gok.
Yeah, that's a lot of different
Mhm.
Gok.
Yeah.
The most Gok variety we've seen.
Mm-mm.
Well, it's the cockster. That's what should be there. Again,
Yeah.
member berries or makes perfect sense. Why would he go anywhere else? Shout out to all the voice actors on all of these treks because I've noticed that when characters usually have dentures in the show, they will put
Mm.
dentures on the voice actor because she had the sound of her teeth.
Mhm.
And I noticed in Prodigy the Ferengi that one was Gail
Had
Delisle.
that-
I'm not sure who
she
did this
had-
one.
Yeah.
The only way you can make that sound is if you actually have false teeth in when you do the voiceover. So they put in the fake teeth when they did it. Armin
then they
Shimmerman
don't
doesn't
look
always
as-
do that.
I'm sure they didn't look as beautiful as on camera ones, but I kind of talk like that when I wear my mouth guard at night. So
It could have been as simple as throwing a mouth guard on, but you can definitely tell that they have a real mouthpiece. And that's
Mhm.
probably why they made this particular Klingons have such sharp teeth, because the actors decided to do that, and they were like, "Oh, well, let's go ahead and add that in so it makes sense."
maybe I will say that I like how they've just made that a part of the characters, like those kind of prosthetics. I'm reminded of the Ferengi in Deep Space Nine and how when they close their mouth, they always look like they're pushing their lips far forward
Mhm.
because they've got these giant teeth in front of them.
But it's an extra step to do it here. I need to look up and see who this voice actor is. Make sure it's not Gail Delisle, because that would be both times I noticed it.
Well, the only part of that scene that like just didn't make sense to me was when like he comments on the fact that he was drunk already and then getting more alcohol. Why was that worth getting a knife pulled on him?
I want to change the scenario for you. These are two cops interviewing a local merchant. and they're asking where he is. And then the cop just goes, "Oh, he was drinking more, huh?" And this is not, I know it's a knife, but this is basically are you going to be a problem cop? Are you a pig? like, are you going to take this too far? Is where this was going.
Okay, so it's not the concept of like getting drunk is awesome. It's just that he was asking questions when he shouldn't have been.
He was asking questions.
Yeah.
And
He
Mistake
was
Starfleet.
number
asking
2.
questions of a Klingon ambassador,
A
right?
hero, really.
Yeah.
Hero.
Yeah.
So
Specifically a friend of hers.
Yes.
And she was telling him where they went, and then he started acting like a cop. And she's like, what's why do you smell like pig all of a sudden? That's what's happening here. And that's Brad's second mistake, because even if we don't see it as one, she did.
Yeah,
So
and Mariner once again had to step in and be like, "Oh, we lowly Federation dogs can kiss his heels as we should." So,
and then Brad gets mad about her like groveling, and she's
why'd
like,
you do that? And it's like,
"You just got to do
save
that
your ass."
sometimes. It's fine."
You got to go with the flow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is something to mark for later, that this is a lesson that Brad eventually learns,
Mhm.
that it's not all about looking cool. It's about going with the flow, man. Like sometimes the cameras aren't on you. Like you're lower decks. Like you can act kind of weird so that the guys above you look great.
Yeah.
I also too wonder if it was an honor thing, like basically saying, like, are you saying our hero is a drunkard? Which Klingons love their drink,
Could've
and that's cool. But like to insinuate that he was more drunk than he should have been,
Might be.
and doesn't know his
Mhm.
liquor limits, basically. So,
Possibly.
but also, I think you're right with the cop behavior.
The transdimensional energy creature was Jess Arnell as well.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah.
fantastic. Delightful.
He also plays a hologram guy later.
Okay.
Jess, he does a lot of stuff. He played 2 Transformers in the first Transformers movie.
And following along with what Peter was saying earlier, immediately after this, Brad makes another mistake where he tries to talk to the alien, even though they have universal translators. And if you try to talk alien and you don't actually know what that language is, it is entirely possible that you will piss someone off.
Is it though? Like the reason I ask is I think it was Sonic we were watching, where a person is trying to address you in their language and they're clearly getting it wrong. Is in real life, does somebody see somebody struggling to connect with you and just decides to take offense like that?
Yes.
I just never understood why they do that in tropes.
They do.
Do they? Oh,
Circumstances. I mean, it depends on the circumstances, what you said, how well you said it.
It could be considered an insult of you're trying too hard and you don't know what you're talking about. Like,
Yeah,
Or maybe he just sounded really
France,
good.
Go to France, you'll get that. Or
Same.
you just
Okay.
talk to a French person.
If
in
I met a
French.
French person that does not speak English and they walked up to me and they were just like, "You suck, douchebag," I would know by their mannerisms they're trying to say, "Excuse me, I have a question," and I would automatically have
You
more
suck,
compassion for this
douchebag.
person. If somebody was like, "You suck, douchebag," I would not like pull out a knife. How dare you speak badly of my mother? I mean, it's just me, I guess. I don't know. I point for trying.
no, see, and I'm right there with you. And I can see how some people with a different personality trait would get upset by that.
That's all I'm asking. I was just wondering if you guys have
Yeah.
ever heard of this happen in real life. Somebody with a different personality trait clearly sees somebody doesn't know how to speak the language, says something offensive, the first thing out of their mouth, you got to be like, "Oh, you don't know how to speak this at all, dude."
That kind of thing is
again, we don't-
out in the big travel guide specifically for Korea. It was explicitly said, like, you need to be polite, you need to know these specific phrases, and you need to not mess with people. If they start messing with you, just walk away.
We don't.
Okay.
Again, we don't know how good his accent was. He may have sounded fluent and just said the wrong words.
I
Yeah.
want you to know that I didn't actually save the slide for this, but since we're having this conversation, I went and looked it up, and this is what he said.
Well, Rosie is bilingual. Rosie is bilingual, and she's saying that it can be taken as offensive, even if it's clear you don't understand. I don't know. Maybe it's just my upbringing where I got yelled at a lot. When people yell at me, it does not at all affect me. They're really useful in basic training. The drill instructor came and yelled at me, and I was like, okay. Like I didn't have any urge to fight against that. I was just like, that's just the way they talk, and I would just move on. All right,
Yep.
I'll let it go. I was just curious. I meant to ask it the other day during Sonic. So
That
That's
line is not necessarily offensive in my opinion, but definitely
It's a little vulgar.
it's a little vulgar. Yeah,
Depending on his
Yeah.
cultural values, perhaps.
maybe. Yeah.
okay.
Maybe feces is a very sensitive topic to this
Maybe.
alien.
But I
Ro-
really
ro-
do love his, like, yeah, she throws his wallet, and then his response is, "Oh, my dad's gonna kill me."
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah.
these
That
are just
hurts.
people,
It's a kid.
and respecting other cultures is good, but making sure you do it correctly is also good.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, you are just
For
two
sure.
people on the streets, and one of them's throwing hands for no reason.
Yeah.
Star Trek does have a bad habit of giving those guys extra leniency. Rosie has said that this has happened to her. So she spoke Spanish in the wrong way to the wrong person, and they took offense when none was intended. So that is my anecdotal. Like, this happens so many times in movies, I should know one anecdotal story. So now I do.
There we go. And one day we'll be able to get our chat working and integrated. It looks like we have.
Oh, we can.
Okay, so there's
Yeah,
some comments.
I saw
already.
the button
Okay,
for it
cool.
earlier. Yeah.
Nice.
See?
I've not been looking at it.
Say,
Okay, so yeah, you can.
yeah, there, boom.
That. Nice.
Ah,
I love this program. It's so great.
neat.
That's very cool. All right, cool. Oh yeah, so we're back with Robert Rutherford, and he's gone over to command.
Oh,
He's
that
having a
deep
hard
end.
time of it.
Oh, that deep end. And after the second one, I kind of got the feeling that, oh gosh, what's his name? Number one was messing
Ransom.
with him because he was
Ransom,
like,
yeah.
"Oh, you're so bad at this. I'm going to support you with the right choice that you should not do this. More children."
Yeah.
Like, because
Just gonna drill it home.
You're probably
which other
correct.
episode was it? There was another episode, maybe it was DS9 with Dax, where someone was trying to do something and they had to make the hard call of, this really isn't for you. We know that you want to do this, but this is not your best, like doing this would not be living your best life. And it was really hard. And I don't remember exactly what the context was.
Well,
it the
Cisco
trill
said
thing?
it's to Quark, and I'm sorry, to Nog, and he was wrong about it. But
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Yes, he was.
there's been at least one episode of every Star Trek where they have a simulator that just immediately does this. So we know that it's a trope for command. They love this kind of thing for some reason. First thing they throw people
Oh.
into.
Also, Starfleet has some of the worst tests ever.
Oh, yeah.
Like in terms of like just the things they put you through are just like, that's messed up, man.
Yeah. I was just talking with Chris the other day about, like, there was an early episode of Next Gen where Wesley had not, been admitted into Starfleet Academy yet. And he went to some planet and he was being tested. And it's like, throughout this whole show, we've been shown and we've been led to believe that Wesley was super exceptional. He's just like a complete genius. He's like a wunderkind. And he's going through these like ridiculously hard things and he fails. And it's like, but these other jackasses got in. The guy that was like torturing the aliens to get him home in the Delta Quadrant, that guy got through. Like,
I will make an argument for you that this is a specific test they run for young children, because Beckett absolutely is a Wesley crusher. She out Wesley's Wesley. She's over here talking about those commando raids when she was 15. That was a very easy thing to miss, but he's like, we're the same age. What the hell? She was doing 100% the Wesley thing. She saved the ship every week when she was like 13. And then by the time she was 15, people got tired of her. And so she went away for a while and then joined Starfleet afterwards and was like, you know what? I'm burned out, which happens to prodigies all the time. Happened to Wesley too, actually. But I'm telling you, that's why Wesley had a harder time, because they needed him to pass a test for young excellence that he didn't pass. Otherwise, he would probably kill a bunch of people.
Yeah, because like they talked about it like it was a test for the academy, but we know the academy is in fact a school in San Francisco. But it was only 4 of those kids, and I've always thought that the disconnect was, oh no, he's getting tested for like this super upper tier elite thing.
The gifted program.
Yeah.
No, they know the psychology of their people so well. They knew to run the test to see if he was ready at his aptitude. For real, and he wasn't ready. For I can say that for 2 reasons safely. One is that sorry, Rosie messaged me, and now I've lost my thing. One was Pike did it when he had the new girl come onto his ship. He did something I consider completely unethical when he interviewed her with a psychological test. And the other is that sadly Wesley did wash out. He did. He met up with the wrong people and he did wash out. So
you're talking about the
I
short
stand
track?
by that test. Yes, I am talking about the short track.
Man, yeah, that is another perfect example of those. Man, Starfleet has some messed up tests.
And since we are a group of people that will take the context of what's on the screen and accept it for what it is, there is only one explanation, that they do have the psychological profiles of each person, and they give them a test they know they can handle. So we could not handle that test. After that test was over, we would have spat in his face and sued him. We would not get to that test. We would have gotten a different test that was more inclined to our aptitude, that would let us know that we were safe to be on the ship. Because if you do something like that and then you're like, let's go con, like they're like, okay, you fail. I'm serious. That's what's on the screen, because we've seen this test in every version of Star Trek, and it always goes tits up like this at first. So
that's fair.
So the question that I have with this is, like, after he fails that first simulation, he's told, like, oh, you should have done the Janeway maneuver. Like, was that more just a name drop, or is there some Janeway maneuver that I'm not familiar with?
I mean,
Janeway is a captain on the Voyager show.
Yeah, but was there something she did that was so trademark, or are they just doing a name drop?
There is no Janeway maneuver, but it's not just a name drop. The idea is, what would be the Janeway maneuver? Because whatever it is going to murder a lot of people.
So there is
didn't know that and said do it, and it killed everybody.
So there is something called the Picard maneuver, which a lot of people think is the thing where he tugs on his shirt, and I guess that as he stands up, I mean, that kind of is a thing. But there actually is in canon a maneuver called the Picard maneuver. That's like where you warp at them very short, very fast. Suddenly you're in their face and you fire at them. Basically, I think is what it is.
So it might be something.
But we've
like
seen an
that.
example of, he did this maneuver and it was named after Picard. So
Riker got one too, but I can't remember what it was. It was during Insurrection.
So
that's where you cover your opponent in gasoline and light a match.
The Riker maneuver. The Riker maneuver is where you step over the back of a chair.
Yeah.
No. He got one. He got one for real on screen.
Yeah.
It was when he blew those guys up by igniting that gas.
Yeah.
So the Janeway maneuver, we know Janeway, and if she got something named after her, that Janeway maneuver definitely killed children. It did. So we don't know what it is either. You're right. You didn't miss a reference, but it wasn't just throwing out a name. The Janeway maneuver is. I would not try that on my first day. I would not say do the Janeway maneuver.
And the point of it is that like literally the second test he put them on was, there's an asteroid coming at you. Like, okay, you couldn't handle hard. Let's do super easy. And then he still messed it up. So
he did.
Yeah.
No, he did legit. That's what we know about Janeway. Like, Imagine if he had said the Riker maneuver, they would have doused it with gasoline and lit it on fire. Like, that's not good.
I think also too, in the first situation, he mentioned something about time, like some kind of time something was happening. So that's why maybe they went back to Janeway, because Janeway gets really wibbly wobbly with time.
That's true.
Against her will, I should at least
against her. She hates time travel.
I hate time travel,
except for when she likes it.
Except for when it does her. Except for is good for her.
No, that was a shapeshifter.
All right, but continuing on, thinking of time.
Yeah, I will say one more thing about this scene is that I really the jokes about oh my god, even more children died in the pre-K, and it just got worse and worse. I know that was kind of fun, like basically making fun of Enterprise, of Next Generation's Enterprise, which was a family ship. It had a lot of people on there, and yet they were always out. They were the flagship of the Federation. They were out all the time. Why all the children here? But I did I like the shot of Rutherford being like, all those kids?
There is an accidentally funny shot in Generations where a little girl drops her teddy bear, and then like Geordi scoops her up and takes her away, and she has to leave the teddy bear behind. And even us are like, why is she on the ship? Like, this is supposed to be sweet, but this is exactly why you don't do that.
Are you sure you want to do this? I
Well,
don't know.
because now, granted, we've watched a lot of weeks where, stuff got blowed up, but we've also watched weeks where everyone else was living a normal life and Picard was stuck in diplomacy land. So, like, I don't know. It's the idea of you're living
Playing
on
the
a
flute.
frontier town, and sometimes there might be, like, raids at your door.
True.
And for the most part, you're just living your life.
Since no children died, we can safely say it was fine. I did make the argument the other day that my dog Mixie would go with me. And someone was like, it's too dangerous. I'm like, too dangerous for Mix, too dangerous for me. My dog is going with me, straight up. So I feel you on this.
Yeah, that's fair. And so we're cutting back to Boimler making yet another mistake of
That's three major ones, right? No, 4.
Yeah,
I would argue this is the only one that just about anybody would have trouble with. You're on planet Ryza. You're on little Ryza right now.
Yeah,
so this is fair, but it is his 4th mistake in a row, I think. On a 3rd.
Klingon,
the guy,
Klingon,
the mugger.
alien here. Yeah. 4.
Yeah, and this is kind of the a bit of a straw that breaks the camel's back for him, because it's like, oh man. Actually,
there is a line.
Later, there's more.
There is a line they meant to be funny that I don't particularly find funny, because we're more of a sex positive group. So she points and she goes, Germaneron, this guy wants Germaneron. It's like, yeah, what? That's like going,
Everybody
a
wants
Slurpee. This guy wants a Slurpee outside the 7-Eleven.
You're in Little Ryza. Everyone wants to jump on the road here. Like,
So that
come
joke
on.
did not hit me as funny at all. I was just like, don't shame me.
Yeah. Not cool. In Little Ryza,
And we don't even know what it
places.
is for real. Ryza is a surprisingly sexless planet every time we go to it. Like they show people in bathing suits. That's it. It could be a swimming technique. We don't know.
Everything
Except for
happens
Enterprise.
behind doors. We don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Except for an Enterprise.
Okay, this
did
still
they get it
right
on
here.
Enterprise?
This still right here makes me laugh because the dude in the background with the green swimming trunks and the suspenders, I love it. That's like we win for it.
Got to get a little bit of that 80s fashion in there.
Yeah.
Also, I kind of expect Star Trek to be a little nicer to suck you by. I'm serious. Like
we're just trying to
come
get
on.
by.
They're just trying to get by, and I'm sure we can work it out. Like it's not crazy in the Star Trek universe to date a sucky by.
I think it's more along
stand
the
by this.
lines of she didn't get his consent to lay eggs in his neck.
Yeah.
See, and like if everything was consensual and like, that would be one thing. And instead she was being a predator. So that's not cool.
Yeah, it's such a minor thing. I'm not like dinging this. It's not going to lose faith of the heart for me. I'm just pointing out just this whole thing is like haha joke. And I'm like,
Yeah, no, I feel you.
You can have this one for Rick and Morty argument, James. You can have this one.
I didn't know if it was referencing something or not. So
Yeah, Jurahamon is just the word for sex because it's the 90s and everybody is just completely afraid of their private parts. So when you say Jurahamon,
I just meant like this alien, like if we've seen this alien.
Not specifically, but have we?
No,
I'm not
but
sure.
succubus is.
There's
No,
something
we
like.
haven't.
There's lots of things like this.
Yeah.
But by the way, that voice actress from the Klingon was uncredited. We don't know who it is.
Fascinating.
We
We're
should
gonna
ask
go
our
with Jess
close
Harnell.
personal friend Jess Harnell.
We'll get him on the podcast.
It probably was Jess.
But no, this lady is not a reference, except that any pretty girl that hits on a Starfleet officer, especially a lower decks, is definitely a succubi of some kind.
It's up to something. Yeah.
Yeah. Got ulterior motives.
Except for when it's not.
Yeah.
Can't think of an example.
Okay, this scene I take offense to, like just like they're like, oh man, like Rutherford sucks. He has like no bedside manner. But like Tendi didn't say anything to that guy that Rutherford didn't already say. She's just cute. Like that's why the guy was okay with it.
She said positive things.
She said it.
And then Rutherford said, like, honestly, an 18% chance of death, that's a large percent chance. That's scary.
Well,
But-
it was her energy. She was like, "You're gonna be fine," and he's like, well,
I
I
will
didn't-
say,
I'm going to choose to believe you.
Like it wasn't until after he found out like what the guy's injury was that he lost it, where he was like, "You're alive."
again, He was nervous before that though, because he's socially awkward, as where Tindy is very just excited to be there.
I think James is
about
right.
everything.
Except that I'm going to be an apologist for this, meaning I didn't even think about this till just now. I'm just going to give you an explanation. Imagine that you're in a doctor's office and you've got the new guy, and then you find out the new guy is just a plumber or some shit, like just pretending to be a nurse today. That's probably what's happening here, because he's got to know who Rutherford is, right? And Rutherford's looking at him like he's a computer. He just said people with computers are the same thing, right? So
Yeah.
I don't know. I think this makes sense to me, but I think you're right. It was solved by the fact that she's cute, and she is.
Yeah.
So you're just saying facts. She would definitely calm me down.
I think some of
I
it
found
too
it more
is like
ironic.
his.
Go ahead.
It's not just
Okay.
cute. It was the
I was just
energy.
gonna say, like, I think some of it is like it shows off like his technical skill is really good, but when it
Yes.
comes to his personal side, he's
Mhm.
he's a little out there. He doesn't really know how to handle people, and that's why
But
he likes the tubes.
you're trying to tell me that grumpy cat lady like has more bedside manner?
Yes.
See, and that's
Surprisingly,
what I
yes.
found less believable and
No.
more ironic. That
Star Trek
Dr.
universe.
Tiana has more bedside manner than he does, and she is a cantankerous old lady cat. And
That is-
I don't know if you've known any cantankerous old lady cats, but I have, and they have no bedside manner.
I think hers is more of the term of like you're gonna sit there, you're gonna take your
you're gonna-
medicine, and you're gonna get better.
Yeah.
Like
Shut the fuck up and go to sleep. I'm trying to work.
Star Trek,
He's just like,
Star
oh,
Trek
okay.
teaches this as a completely good bedside manner. Star Trek does teach this manner of doctoring. Absolutely.
Well, she's in the Bones category of that's how Bones did.
the doctor.
I don't know. The epitome for Bones was in
Pulaski.
was it in the Whale movie where he just gave someone a pill and then she grew a new kidney? Like, of course I can't leave this woman here. She like this is barbaric.
He annoyed me in that. I mean, we won't get deep into it, but he goes back into the past and he's like, all of this is primitive. Yeah, Bones. Bro,
It's the past.
What did you expect?
if you lived where we lived and then you went to a third world country, would you say that shit out loud? What is wrong with you?
All right, sorry. That was my tangent. My bad.
No, that's fair. So then Rutherford's off to security training, and
Dominates.
What was it? Smorgasbord.
Smorgasbord.
Yeah.
That's a
There
good
is
one.
there is a trend here.
Also,
It's definitely real. He is a good fighter, but pretends like he's not to himself, because this keeps happening. If one time is a system malfunction, like 4 times, you are a mad dog killer and do not want to admit it to yourself.
Maybe, or it could just be that his what is in his
That implant.
that is in fact like it goes around his head for a reason. Like that's part of his brain, that it just has some really good programming.
Also, this is another example of one of those messed up Starfleet tests.
Yeah.
Like he just like
oh, you weren't supposed to win. We were supposed to
at least
beat
you
you in
checks it.
submission.
Yeah, and that's a beautiful lesson, and definitely a good way to get to know someone as a how good are you when you lose. Like that's definitely something, because the famous quote, you can do everything right and still lose. That's just life.
Starfleet's big on those tests. I won't say Kobayashi Maru. I'll just say they're big on those kinds of tests.
Shax is like, this is my Kobayashi, fuck you.
Which, side note, can we talk about how wonderful Shax is? Because he's just so enthusiastic and gruff. And we saw in the first episode how much he kicks ass.
Yeah.
But still, he's just like super supportive and just, we're so glad to have you. And then, oh no, okay, it's fine.
He's the only Bajoran I like.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like
some
most Bajorans.
Yeah.
I don't like most of them.
Not counting collaborators and Satanists, there's no Bajoran I don't like. I think they're all great.
There's that one, basically the Voyager Lower Decks episode. There was a Bajoran on that episode that I liked. and Shax.
He got thrown into a Kobayashi Maru too. I don't care what
Yeah, he
Tupac says. He sent her into a thing to fail.
Like Kira's good, but she has some aspects of her character that rub me the wrong way. And that's
Parts of her were not written well. Parts of her were. So
they rub me the right way. I just love that she again is just a stone cold killer. She has murdered. Reminds me of my grandfather, because in World War II, he did that kind of thing. There are stories you've seen in World War II movies. Those are literally my granddad that did that shit. And then he just came home and got a job. Like I do like that about the Bajorans. They're just like, well, guess we're done killing. Just kind of
yeah, which is fair.
I'm all about anti-fascist freedom fighters. So
me too. I love it.
And that is part that I like.
Like, I'm not a religious guy, but their gods are real, and
and that made it worse. That's what frustrates me more.
All right, too much tangent.
I do have theories to share with you about that at some point, Leo.
Okay, so yeah, once again, this is after the fight with the Andorians. Just went into an all-out bar brawl, and
so that's 5.
Yeah,
this is the scene I was alluding to, where even if we don't understand it, even if we don't understand it, everybody else in that room did, and they're from all over the place, and they're civilians, including
if they had a reason to go after that dude, like, it was a good one,
and he wasn't picking up the message.
Or you could wait and see what happens, and like, why are they doing that? Not just
fire your
one
weapon.
of them. Like, that's not the correct situation to de-escalate.
There is no way for Brad to win, because it's written for him to lose. So I'm sure at some point something exactly like that happens. I'm just saying that instead of us being, well, that's inexplicable, Brad can't win, the actual message is, no, dude, there's something you're missing. We're following you as an audience, but there's something you're missing. If they had told the story from the other side, it would have been really obvious that you were dumb.
Yeah.
Honestly, that whole plot line it feels like it's one of the first episodes of Enterprise, and like Trip sees like a mother like weaning her child off of whatever the child was breathing, and he just assumed that she was like suffocating this child, and tried to be like, "Hey, you shouldn't be doing that." And
what are you doing to that kid?
Trying to get him acclimated to this kind of atmosphere.
Paul had to be like, "Dude, don't just go around."
But that was humanity's first trip outside the solar system.
Sure.
Come on, Brad.
And I think that leans into, like, their world is so big, and they come across so many things that you can read every book that you can, and you will still only scratch the surface on some cultures.
And I think that's something that this episode is really pointing out, is like, we as Star Trek fans know all of these little things about these different species, and they're like, that's a trope. That's a trope. That's wrong. You don't know what you think you know. And that's what she's trying to teach him. So in a kind of way, it's almost teaching us that too.
And I would go as far as to argue that he didn't read those books correctly. Like, if we went back and we saw those books, it would be like, it does not say that you should walk up to this guy and talk to him in his own language. It doesn't say that. It says that you should do this, and you thought you knew better. Because this other book said something else about somebody else.
That whole that is one way of reading. Like, it's possible that he could have read the exact same book as someone else who took a different message, but where he's coming from with the Starfleet is pretty much ineffable, and that we're doing the right thing, and I'm part of the best. Like, reading it with that lens, it's entirely possible and probable that he could come across with that message, and it's incorrect.
James, we haven't asked you your opinion. Were you picking up anything this was putting down, or are you thinking that we're making it work, man? We're just making it work. Like, which side are you on this?
No, I mean, like, this episode, was a very kind of straightforward episode, like, which I did like, because I feel like the last episode just had way too much Rick and Morty isms in it, which I think was like fun when we were talking about it, and every time I pointed it out, you were like, "Oh, Yeah, I guess that is a Rick and Morty.
Not every time. Sometimes I push back on your interpretations.
But there was more. But there was more in it than anybody else assumed there was or remembered there being.
She
That's
did
fair.
slice his leg
This
with a
episode
bloody knife.
didn't have really any like Rick and Morty isms in it. It was an honest to goodness Star Trek episode.
Mhm.
I have a funny question. By its nature, it's funny. I watched this episode earlier today, like an hour ago. Where are his pants?
They're down around his
he pulled
They're
them
on his
down.
ankles.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
pulled them down because
Stabbed
he has that thorn in his leg.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in order to get that out
Okay.
and to bandage it.
There's a
But
wider shot.
This does complete the image that Kim put in our minds earlier of the dress uniforms with no pants.
Yeah.
Indeed.
That's true.
But I think it also talks to they got into their underwear in the very first episode.
Yes.
Like showing skin is not nearly as much of a thing. They weren't upset about being partially nude in front of each other.
Right.
He was upset about, wait, why my suit? Like why are they getting like messed up?
This never happens to Data.
If it
Data-
did, he wouldn't be upset about it because he wouldn't care.
But Data was on a show where those costumes were expensive, and you're on an animated show where we can fuck them up for free. So trust me, if he was on this show, he would be pantsless every time.
So this is the part where Boimler is. It seems like he's learning his lesson, and he's really down in the dumps, and he's like, "Oh, I'm going to quit Starfleet and everything." And you can see that something's happening. with Mariner.
and
He's obviously like, "Oh, I got to help this poor bastard."
this is a toxic trait where if you fail and then you do this like poor me, I'm terrible at everything, I should just quit life.
Yeah.
Like no, don't quit everything, just go to therapy, please.
Yeah.
Because it's that black and white thinking, you're perfect or you're crap, and it's like, no, you're just a person.
I would argue that he's objectively crap today. Like this is his first
He is
away
pretty
mission,
crap.
and it's going terribly.
It is, but it doesn't mean he should quit Starfleet.
No.
Yeah.
No,
Because
but
he's got a lot
think
to
it's
learn.
I think it's fair to cry that he failed so spectacularly.
Sure. It's
To
fair to cry.
Yes.
Also, I don't know about the rest of you, but I also gasped. That was not a joke. I'm just going to be a researcher on an asteroid. And I was like, dude, no. Don't even joke about that shit. No, man, you can't do that.
It was the thing that he described definitely has happened in Star Trek before, with like a researcher who gets eaten by aliens and then you have to piece together. Like
Yeah.
that
Some
was,
shaky camera footage.
Oh, yeah.
The con.
I thought it was a great joke, and oh no, we've seen those
It's legit.
episodes multiple
Yeah.
times.
Well,
I didn't think
again,
it was a joke at all. I gasped and was like, Brad, you have to have more self-respect than that. Come on. now.
that comes back to this show is a comedy, but at the same time, it is canon, and they skate a real fine line of what can we get in as a joke and keep it within like
Canon.
because they're like, if you want access to these things, you got to stay on this side of the line.
I would argue that the live action shows have the same problem. They skate on the other side of it, where it's like, at some point, you must admit that taking a shuttle somewhere needs to have two shuttles. Like, when are you going to admit that no shuttle ever successfully reaches its destination? And they skate that line, acting like they don't know what you're talking about. The shuttle made it, by the way, in this episode. They did land the shuttle. And it was stolen, but it's like one of the rare times that has ever worked, and the live action show prefers not to pay attention to that. So it makes sense to me that you would point out that I don't want to work on an asteroid somewhere.
I guess unless you count Enterprise, because Enterprise used shuttles a lot.
Mhm.
That's because they didn't really
They
want to
did.
use the
They had to.
transporter.
Yeah, they didn't have a
Right,
transporter.
hated it. Yeah,
I
it
mean,
was-
they had one. They were just like, I don't know about sending people
Trust that
through
guy.
that.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't know if a conference ever successfully took place. Oh wait, yes, I can think of at least one. We won't go into the tangent, but never go to a conference either, cons or death traps.
They are, except for when they're not, though. Like, now, granted, on the 3rd, they definitely had something go weird with that conference, but you just didn't hear about the one on the 15th, the 17th, and the 23rd.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You only see
3%
the
of
bad
conferences
ones
are
because that's how
problems.
the story happens.
Raise
Yeah.
your hand. How many people have been mugged on their way home from Dragon Con? In Star Trek, every single person would have raised their hand.
No.
No, those are just the
You've
ones
just
we
seen
see.
the handful of stories where someone was.
Yeah.
But they know each other. They all know each other. It always
There were
happens every time.
thousands of people at that
But
conference.
keep in mind, I'm not defending that the death conferences or conferences are real death camps. What I'm saying is not admitting that it's a problem is less a joke on this side and more an ignorance on the other side. So that's what I'm saying.
Is not
necessarily.
that is not necessarily incorrect.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have a feeling that they show us, that a successful conference does not make good TV.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I feel there's probably lots of successful, non-problematic things that happen, but that doesn't make for interesting television.
A shuttle has landed properly, probably more than once as well.
Oh,
To
yeah.
have Brad
That's
pointed
where
out
story
that
can happen.
people on remote asteroids end up getting killed is not.
Yeah.
It's on the live action show to up their game as opposed to the cartoon. The cartoon's not lowballing; they're too highbrow. They got to come down and admit that this shit ain't right. Like they got to come into these places with the guns drawn once in a while because it's not right.
Okay, so but the Bears camaraderie.
The bears.
Like
Yeah. I love
just
the berries.
The cubs.
like
And,
engineering is tight and medical, they work together.
Mhm.
Command, we'll get to an episode on that, but just security, like he does a good job at leading his security team.
Yes, he
And
does.
slight spoiler for James, but eventually Jack starts calling Rutherford Baby Bear.
He does.
Yeah.
He calls him Baby Bear in this one. Baby Bear and
Oh,
Papa Bear
does
actually
he?
exchanged in this
Okay.
episode. Yeah.
Okay.
But that never stops. That's the thing.
Yeah, I
It's
think
like-
he calls him Baby Bear from now on.
Hey, keeps
Yeah.
on doing that.
Well, he's
But
actually
also-
he's in the pack. Wolf's
Right.
Bears are in the
You
pack,
pass
but-
the test you're not supposed to pass.
Exactly.
True. That's true.
Yeah.
We'll never
He
forget
earned-
you.
He earned Strax. Yeah. He
Yeah.
earned Strax's
Strax.
respect. Strax. He
No,
earned
Strax.
his respect. and he was qualified.
SHAXS.
He's qualified to be in the pack. For some reason, bears travel in packs, so he's qualified to be in the pack. And just because he decided not to does not change that status.
Right,
Mhm.
right,
He's Baby Bear.
right.
Apparently on Bejor, bears travel in packs.
There we go.
Oh, that's that good
Those
canon.
Bajoran bears.
Yeah.
I got a spoon right here.
You're feistier than a Bajoran bear pack. We head back to dejected
The
Boimler.
most stereotypical
The most
Ferengi.
stereotypical for
Yeah.
Oh my god.
He's playing it up so
He's
hard.
doing
I
the
love
greedy
it.
hand thing. And at this point, obviously, Mariner's already decided to, help Boimler out by providing.
Give him a win.
I will admit that, like, as this was playing out, like, I was played just as much as Boimler was played.
Nice.
I did
good.
not catch on to Mariner's ruse.
Oh, I did. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
even.
Bolians are blue.
Bullions are blue, James, and they have a seam going down their face. You
Yes,
can
everyone
put a
knows
boiler,
that.
a
James,
boiler.
and you were
in
dumb
there.
for not knowing that.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't read the Wikipedia first.
No.
No,
Neither
yeah.
did we.
I have excitement because that shows that it did work as a story, and I'm glad that you were also like on that ride with him.
Yeah, I wish it was a surprise for me because that was a really fun ruse that they pulled,
Mhm.
and I was like, oh yeah, just to not know that, yeah, she was helping him out.
He pulled out a knife and said, "Give me your profit."
There was a
Should
part
we
of me that
talk
was just
about-
like, that's
Hey,
a little,
he's an
a little
actor.
over the top, isn't it?
No, he's an actor.
Should we talk about there is a little bit of racism going on here?
little
There
bit.
is.
I don't know if it matters.
This is a
Star Trek
classic
is
anti-Semitic.
famous for
Star Trek is full of it.
no, not racism. Star Trek is full of
Stereotype.
bias and prejudice.
Yeah.
Definitely there, and that goes against entire races are written off because you've had so many experiences with this type of alien.
Mhm.
And
True. Yeah.
I think, I mean, it's part of sci-fi that because they have these others to play with, and others with a capital O, they can have these stories and talk about how, yeah, that's seriously prejudiced of you.
You know, Star Trek has done this too, because like I remember there was a episode where Picard was talking about, oh, that's ensign so and so, he's of this species, they're known for their anger outbursts or whatever it is he's talking about. And I'm like, well, if you think about it in the context of the alien species in Star Trek are supposed to be allegories for races,
Right.
that's kind of a messed up statement to be making there, Picard. Like, it's like, oh yeah, that guy, that race is known for being naturally faster at running. It's like
It's a little in that direction. I think we've acknowledged it, and I think that's all there is to say. Like I don't know. I like that she pulled in a favor and had him be right about something. So
like it felt heavy-handed to me, but her heart was in the right place. Like, no, Brad needed a win. And I loved how it flipped, like, just at the end of this of your secret safe with me to, oh no, he's totally chatting it up in the bar. And I bet you, like, she plays it off as she's upset about it, but no, I bet you she is 100% like, yes, it is okay for you to brag about this. This is your win. Go for it.
Yeah,
Right.
like she had a little smirk on her face as she walked away.
Yeah, she did. She did.
There's Rosie says she saw it a mile away.
Well, I will say that this is also like, and this is kind of, almost like lampooning the subtle racism of Star Trek, within Star Trek, because this whole pose here is like a classic anti-Semitic cartoon from the 40s or something like that.
Yeah.
And they've done that, and Star Trek is they've cast Ferengi, like most Ferengis are played by Jewish actors, but they've been able to take that and run with it. And Armin Shimmerman, he said some really cool stuff about it, and I don't have the quote handy, but it's like that the Ferengi were anybody who's ever been an outsider.
I think they successfully turned them into Americans. I think the farther away we get from that show, the more American capitalists they become.
Yeah,
but it's actually not this scene that I'm talking about. It's the chatting it up at the bar that I'm talking about. Like you said, you nailed it perfectly. It's like, wow, those guys are known to run fast. That's basically what they did in the bar.
Yeah, he's like, oh, he did the greedy hand thing.
Yeah, he did.
Something else that I completely side note that I noticed watching this scene, and Leo said, oh no, they've done that the whole time. In this scene specifically, you see characters who get names later.
Yes.
And I like that they've started putting in the characters who we're going to see like episodes with them a lot more.
I'm convinced they just drew a whole bunch of background characters, and then as the show went on, they were just like, all right, let's use this one.
Yeah.
I love that guy's hair. He's going to be an important player in an episode soon. But I love his curly hair because when I have hair, that's what it looks like. And so, like I don't know. I just some representation up in here. And then he's the worst. So
I just love the subtle introduction of Jennifer.
Yeah, good old Jennifer.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I read a thing about that. So that character, because she didn't say anything in this episode, does she? No, I think it's in one of the episodes coming up soon. There's a scene where Mariner's running down the hall. Something is an emergency, and in the script it was something, I don't know, she pushes someone out of the way, and I think the actress just improv'd, like, out of my way, Jennifer, like just randomly threw out a name, and so they were like, yeah, let's build, they definitely built on that.
This is one thing that I noticed as Mariner's starting off like, very funny, you guys have a great night. Jennifer's watching after her. Everybody else is kind of turning their attention back to Boimler and his machinations.
Also, is that Jet back there?
Yep.
Sorry, you don't know.
Yep.
I didn't know he was on the thing already.
Yeah, like I told you, like I said, they drew a bunch of characters to put in the background to fill out later.
And there's Gabby back in the back corner there.
Look at that. That's awesome.
I also like that this show goes to great lengths to make the background plates. That is a CG plate, so they can do it from any angle, but they choose not to. They do it from the same angle every episode because that's the way Next Gen did it. Like
Mhm.
there is, even though there is a section of set over here, they act like there's not. They act like there's a fourth wall when they film this stuff.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Also, there was a small part after they find the Klingon. He's gotten the shuttle down, and they're like, okay, let's get the hell out of here, and they drag him off, and they drop him in front of the consulate or whatever.
Yeah.
He's like, give me more blood wine, and she's like, no.
When they're used to it.
Yeah.
Whatever. She actually throws an F-bomb, doesn't she?
She does. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
I noticed
Martok would be like this. You don't know who that is, James, but Martok is an upstanding guy. But if he was more of a schlub, he would still get all the accolades, and then he would do exactly this. And then the embassy would be like, "All right, come here, General," and drag him away. Or Kolos was like that, wasn't he? He was in his later years. Kor. Yeah, he was like that in his later years too.
Kor for sure.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, this is not crazy. This is something that happens.
Yeah, this is definitely a thing.
What Star Trek never shows you is the lower decks guy that has to see him drunk on the steps of the embassy and has to go,
all right,
he's
and
too heavy
deal
for
with
me.
it.
Somebody else get his other end. Like that happens on live action Trek all the time. It's inferred, but we never see it happen. So good on lower decks for doing it.
Yeah, for sure. And then we end with Rutherford and Tendi, and Rutherford has been doing all these jobs to, try to make more time to be with Tendi, and Tendi's like, I'll just go with you. We can hang out in the tube.
I really do like their relationship.
Me too.
Like exemplifying that he wants to be a people pleaser. He definitely wants other people to be happy, and is willing to sacrifice some of his own happiness to make it work. Mm-hmm. And no, he really found out that no, this is absolutely where he needs to be. And other people will also make those sacrifices for him, that his needs and his wants are also important. And just them together are like...
It's a real friendship. I love it.
Yeah.
It's a very solid relationship.
I know you know this, James, but we believe in this future. We believe in this and these ethics. We live this life. So it's cool when the show reflects what we believe it is. That's why these moments are great to us. Like, yeah, let's have a future where this happens.
Well, and like, and this thing in particular, like for you, Peter, is like you would totally do this, where it's like, oh, there's a cool thing out the window, and you're like, I can just watch it on the screen.
Yeah. I have an issue with this, though. This show treats pads like they're iPads, and I don't like it.
I'm sorry.
They're
And
supposed to lose functionality like that.
I think there's probably a variety of like there's different pads. Like there's probably the iPad pad.
Oh man, they were using those off screen a lot in the last 50 years. Then, like just off screen, they were watching these videos because this is a pad is e-paper, and hold on, I have one.
Well, it was in Next Gen, but this comes out after Next Gen. They've obviously the technology has increased.
Right.
Again, there's probably
e-paper.
different ones.
Like that.
Yeah.
No. You guys don't have to explain it. I just don't like it.
That's fair. But something else I want to say about this is I have so many friends, like the introverts and the neuroatypicals, who are like, I want to come over and spend time with you while I do something I like to do, while you do something you like to do, and we are just existing in the same space and sharing that bond.
Right.
Parallel play.
It's so beautiful.
That's great.
Everything must have purpose. Let's make us podcast and show everybody our conversation about this episode. We can't just have the conversation. We gotta broadcast it.
Has to be
gotta make content.
Share our love.
I can't not. Gotta do it.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a nice note to end on in that episode, I think.
Yeah.
So
getting it done in a reasonable time.
James, does this episode give you more faith of the heart?
Yes, I did not give the first episode any faith of the heart because it just seemed way too Rick and Morty like. But this episode definitely flipped it around. Like it felt more authentic Star Trek, while still keeping it very kind of tongue in cheek, at moments because it wants to be a comedy show. But yeah, so I definitely, this got me on board a little bit more than the first episode did.
I still argue the first episode had like 2 scenes that were not even Rick and Morty as much as just wrong. One of them I don't even count as canon, and I think the show will eventually agree with me.
The cow spider sucking on Boimler scene was like 8 minutes long. It was way too long.
Nah, that's how it is sometimes, man. Sometimes you gotta get
that was too much. That was too much for me. I was like, I
Jerry
don't know about this.
Getting swallowed by a slug like episode. Like it was way too Rick and Morty for the show.
Yeah.
You didn't see it, but it totally was.
No, I don't know.
So talking about this episode, I will say that I liked it a lot more. The fast pace of this show sometimes gives me whiplash because so much happens in that 30-minute window, but it's animated and it's a 30-minute window, but each of these episodes could easily be an hour-long live action episode.
If they were the pace of regular Star Trek, and people delivered their lines at a classic Star Trek, like they just talk fast.
Because there's so much to say in that 30 minutes.
In 30 minutes,
It's ironic because if you don't like that and you want to downshift a 180, Picard is really stretching it out. They are turning 1 2-hour movie into a 10-episode thing. That's not even a criticism. That is what they're doing. There's enough content for one movie, and they're just like, let's have some other things happen in the middle. So it's like you watching both of them is really kind of crazy right now because they're coming out at the same time. You know,
I don't know. I might disagree with you only because I like those small character moments that allow.
I didn't say it was bad.
No. I'm
this
saying
show
that
takes it and makes it 20 minutes. That show takes it and makes it 10 hours.
If you condensed it, you would lose those moments, is what I'm saying. Like, I don't think there's time for those moments to happen in a meaningful way if you make it shorter. And conversely, this show is doing that. You have those character moments, you have those things, and they're still freaking happening at the speed of light.
Yeah.
But also, Sir Patrick Stew is old, and I think that if he tried to do something at that pace, his heart might explode. So, and we don't want that. We want Patrick Stew to stay with us for a very long time.
But again, just to be clear, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying that what we're saying here is like, wow, man, they're taking a whole episode and they're cramming it in, and I'm saying they're taking a whole episode and they're stretching it out. But I do mean it about a movie, because this is clearly a remake of. The one with the whales, The Voyage Home, and that's a 2-hour movie, and they're making it a 10-hour movie.
Well, we're about
it's the same plot. I don't know why
I'm
me
looking
on this.
at the plot beats, and I'm calculating that and
You're
going, you might be right for at least a little bit of that. But
All
I'm
I'm
mad
saying
at you for
is,
it. I'm so mad at you for it.
This is not a criticism. What I'm saying is, we know definitively that can be told in 2 hours, and they're choosing to tell it in 10. This is one we know can do 45 minutes, and they're choosing to do it in 25.
That's all. The punk on the bus. Same punk on the bus.
Let me stop everybody real quick, okay?
Irritating. Ah, yes. One of your Earth emotions.
We're now in the spoiler zone.
Because we were getting close there. I was about to say something too, Nick. Thank you.
That movie was 40 years old, so I will feel relatively safe. And all I'm saying is that we were saying, hey, it's weird how they compress it, and I said at the exact same time, because Alec Kurtzman's name is on both of them, at the exact same time, he's going faster, and then he's done with that meeting, goes to the next one and goes, slow it down. That's it. It's just kind of weird. They're both happening at the same time.
So,
that's all.
So we're gonna see even more of that, because when Strange New World starts coming out, that's gonna be more episodic, less serialized. I mean, they're kind of taking this approach of something for everyone
at the same time. You're right. Damn, that's a hard juggle. That is a difficult task.
It is, but I think they're doing it well, like especially with how Prodigy is geared towards kids and how Lower Decks is, I'm gonna say, geared towards millennials and younger.
Yeah.
But definitely not necessarily children, because some of the jokes that they make are
crude.
A 7-year-old might not enjoy that.
Lower Decks is that that magic demographic, the 18 to 34 like group.
I believe that Strange New Worlds will just almost be a ripoff of TOS, but a good thing. Like, it will be so much like that, like that era. So you're right. That's weird. That's happening all at the exact same time. That is bonkers.
They're doing it
that
on
wasn't
purpose.
the way it was. Yeah.
And okay, so I'm going to plug a group that I'm in on Facebook that I am not necessarily like modded or associated with, but it's called Star Trek Shitposting. And I am 90% sure, as is a whole bunch of the people there, that the writers on Lower Decks are also in that group.
Oh,
Because
they're definitely in that group.
they will take
Some of
jokes
them are.
that were shit posts in that group, and then like next season they put that in what? How?
Yeah.
What?
There was
That's
one of
awesome.
those popular memes that straight up like got turned into a line of dialogue. That's like, y'all are definitely here.
They're reading
I
it.
purposely didn't join that group, but now I want to because I want Grapplers to make a comeback. We almost put Grapplers in our own game, but it wouldn't work. I want Grapplers to be a thing once more. I want them to make a character that people just really love it when we visit Grappler's Horn. Please. That would be rad as hell.
Yeah, shout out to Star Trek shitposting. Shout out to Star Trek comrade posting as well.
Mhm.
That one's fun. It's just, Star Trek shitposting with a communist man. And I would stay away from Geordie's Warp Core posting because that's usually a bunch of like transphobes and not so fun.
Ooh.
Yesterday they for what I believe to be technical issues, they dropped an episode of Deep Space Nine from Paramount Plus. And somebody was trying to watch it and said, "Hey, why'd you drop this episode?" And the response, which I believe was incorrect, was, "Oh, we don't have the streaming rights to that single episode."
No.
And the reason I mention it now is because Star Trek Communism said this wouldn't happen if the means of production were owned by the people, was the first comment underneath that response.
Nice.
That's the first time I've heard of them, and it's funny to know that they exist and they meant it. It was not a joke. They meant it.
Yeah.
We're going to come up at the end of season 2, keeping with the theme of timing. There's one episode that I loved so much. I'm disappointed it's an episode. It should have been in a movie. It should have been the plot of the movie. The last episode of last season that we only got 25 minutes of that great idea. I'm just like, you guys rip yourself off all the time. Make a movie and just rip it off and didn't act like you didn't. I will look the other way this once. Evidently, when it picks up, it's going to pick up right where that left off. So that's going to be kind of fun.
All right. So, final thoughts from about this episode. What do you guys think?
I liked it.
Yeah. So I really liked Mariner's. We get to know Mariner a little bit more here. She's not just like some crazy wild card.
Yeah.
We get to know
Not completely crude.
Yeah, she's got machinations, of course, and she likes to mess with people a little bit, but she's also got a lot of heart, and she's like, going to do something. She's willing to sacrifice her own, appearance of coolness in order to help somebody out that matters to her when they need it.
Mm-hmm.
And Boimler's kind of a jackass.
So,
He's just green.
Yeah.
He's so bright, neon, flashing green.
he's greener than Harry Kim, and if you choose to do that as an insult, there's nothing I can do to stop that.
Mm-hmm.
They warned us at the Academy about Springy.
So, Nick, since you gave your final thoughts, we do have a rating system. Does it have a faith of the heart?
I think it does.
Okay,
Yes.
one faith. 2 face of the heart, but we'll come back. We'll count yours officially in a second, James. Actually, let's bounce up and down. So what did you think of the episode, James?
Like I said, I mean, overall, I liked it. It felt like Star Trek, which to me is a good thing. And just the fact that we did see like a kind of a switch for Mariner. Like in the first episode, she was very just like F everything. Which I feel like is where her mindset is. Like she took this job on purpose to be invisible, and now like Boimler is just kind of forcing her to take it more seriously because he finds it to be important and she wants him to be able to excel in the way that she knows he can if he just gets out of his own way.
Mm-hmm.
So it was cool to see this, this other aspect of her that she chooses to keep very, very close to the chest.
Mm-hmm.
To the point that I would say that the first one, almost an uncanon episode. Some of the things she does in that episode don't really match.
That makes a little bit more sense because you said that last time, and it makes a little bit more sense now.
Would this Beckett just uninvited show pornography to strangers?
Maybe not. Maybe not.
Maybe not. Yeah. Well, if we're gonna do it up down, I guess it's mine. Yeah, I like this episode quite a bit. Like I said, I don't see them as references. I see them as going. Thank you. Why would you make up a whole new planet when you have a little Klingon and a little Risa? This is cool. I'm into this. And if you're gonna do that, don't make something new. Draw all the Gok we've ever seen, so they're all in the screen at the same time. That is not pandering. That's common sense. Do your research. Watch the show. That. So that's what we're getting. So yeah, I don't think there's an episode that doesn't have Faith of the Heart for me. So I give it faith. I'm going where the road may take us because I know where it goes.
Chris, what do you think?
I really like this episode. It definitely gave me faith because I was like, again, that first episode, I like, where are they going with this? What is happening? Star Trek, I'm gonna give you a pass because you're Star Trek, but then this episode I was like, okay, I really like this, but not enough Tendi. That's my only complaint. We got a little bit of Tendi, but like I need more. Like just give me a whole Tendi episode.
That certainly is not going to happen at any point in the future.
No, not at all. But
I will take this thinly veiled foreshadowing.
James, I'm going to call you out. I can't imagine that Tendi isn't like, hello, I'm James. Like, am I right about this?
She is like proving to be my spirit animal on this show, so we'll see.
Rosie, leave your comments. Faith of the Heart, and are you into Tendi? Those are two questions to answer before we wrap.
Honestly, just anybody who watches this, go ahead and put those in the comments. Like, does this episode have Faith of the Heart? That would be wonderful to hear your thoughts on. So I guess we're on me. I think that it does have Faith of the Heart. It is not as good as I want it to be. Like I said, the Ferengi thing at the end really rubbed me the wrong way of like, Boimler, okay, you were this stupid the whole way, but Bolians are blue. Like, you know she has to be playing. Like, but I like where it's going, and I like that it kind of followed, like, I'm going to go back to that very first scene of she was acting like an asshole, but she completely diffused that godlike power's impact on the ship to the point where it was not a problem. And she did it in a way that didn't tip her hand that is what she was doing. But at the end of it, it is entirely plausible that every action she made was intentional.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think so.
So, yeah, I liked it. I did not love it, but I like where it's going. And I love Shax, which is just another third, and Tendi, and like, the characters are amazing.
The Rosie gives it 8 faiths out of 10 hearts.
I'm gonna, you don't get to do that, Rosie. It's not like that. It's got to be. No. It's got to be
yes or no.
It's up or down.
All right,
that's
Leo?
the fun part of a binary choice.
I liked this episode a lot. You know, I mean, I enjoyed the first episode, but like, I'm glad like they definitely steered away from the direction they could have gone, that it seemed like it might have been going. Like they immediately course corrected to, oh no, this is Star Trek.
Yeah.
And this episode, with the exception of like, because we didn't get a lot of Tendi, but we got a lot of character development of the main characters
and world building.
Yeah, I mean, and some world building, but I mean, like, there was a lot of not heavy-handed establishing who these people are, and a little bit of Tendi. You know, we'll get more of her in the future. Like, you know, she didn't have as much, but I liked that they did a lot of just sort of getting us used to these characters, learning who they are. But honestly, a lot of Star Trek shows don't even know that until they're like second or third season.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I will say, like, you're saying that you said it, and we know that Peter said it, and we know even James said it. The first episode was a pilot. And what happens in the pilot does not necessarily perfectly connect with the rest of the show. Yeah. And I wonder if that's how it went. They created this pilot, and then... Me too. They created this pilot, and then we're like, okay, so this is what we liked, this is what we don't like, this is what worked, this is what didn't, let's go this way. And
Yeah.
maybe some of those things that did feel a little bit less Star Trek-y and a little bit less ethical were left behind because they were like, no, we need to course correct this way.
Mm-hmm. Maybe they made that first episode to show that one guy that just demanded Rick and Morty, knowing that he wouldn't watch anymore. It's possible that they did that.
True.
Well, and I forget his Mike McMahon.
Yeah.
Like,
Sure.
you know, he's I don't. Did you ever read, like, he wrote a book that was the like episode plot synopsis for season 8 of Next Gen?
Yeah,
Mhm.
that came from Twitter. He had a Twitter account.
Oh, it was a
called
Twitter
Star Trek
account.
Next
Yeah.
Generation season 8. He did
Did
make
they,
a book out of
they
it. too.
eventually made a book out of it. Yeah.
They did, yeah.
I mean, like, yeah. So, I mean, like, he's a fan. And like Peter
Mhm.
said, it's not just member berries. He knows the source material, and like, it feels good when the dots connect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When people remember things that, oh, that was something that was mentioned in the 1960s, but you can do more with it, and not necessarily just do you remember, but okay, we're going to use this.
Mhm.
Especially when the original show had a rule that you were not allowed to do that. Every Trek show before this, it was obvious that you can't do that. If you bring back continuity, you're going to have to go to the principal's office. Like, it better be really, really important to bring that back. You're not allowed to ever resolve anything. So it's like nice to finally get a new generation
DS9
that's like
started
doing
that ball rolling, but
only within DS9 though. Like,
but
they
yeah,
never,
within the
DS9 has had plenty of episodes with exocomps that they never ever look back to. They never have a return to those, you know? Like,
well, I mean,
there's
unless
lots
you
of
talk
those.
about Trials and Tribulations, where they literally go back to.
Yeah, well, you know what I mean, though. Like, there's lots of things where they're just like, "Wow, this was an ethical conundrum. What do you, the viewers at home, think?" Ba, 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 ba. Like, they do that all the time. And then if somebody's like, "I want to bring this character back," they're like, "No, only what's happening now. That's it." And I know they are more serialized, but no, they wouldn't let you. So it's nice to see these characters back and doing things.
Mhm.
I want to make it. I'm going to make a weird suggestion now that I think about it. Like when I said they all have faith with the heart, maybe on this show I should raise the bar and way up. So like Voyager gets like rated on a curve comparatively, because I'm like, maybe that first episode I go back and say doesn't have faith of the heart, and I say this one does. And when Kim's like, it's okay, maybe we take the bold stance and say not faith of the heart, because we're working on a really high bar for this show. It's just something to think about. We're not changing it right now.
Yeah, let's revisit this at the end of the season. That seems like a good idea.
Oh, that's not a bad idea. Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
just have a general review of the whole season. I bet.
Yeah, just a big old recap.
Yeah. Oh God, we're going to do a clip
in
show.
2030.
Please, no clip shows.
Yeah.
I think we have that even more informal than this. We won't even have a slide.
Isn't that what? Didn't we just load up clips? Like Rosie liked the first episode more than this one. She liked the little bit of the unethical. She's like, ethics. Ugh.
And I love how we're bringing Rosie into this conversation. Which, hi, Rosie. But if
We like our
anybody else
comments.
would like to watch this live, that would also be cool.
Yeah, if you comment, I'm going to
We'll
read
probably
it.
talk about it.
Well,
Yeah.
I might not. I'll have to talk to Nick about that. I did push those buttons without asking you, so I will ask you later on if that's okay.
All right.
Well, if it's not, I can sign into the other account that doesn't give me this access, because I realized that the button was shiny, and if the button's not there, it's not shiny. So next time, if that's necessary, I will do that.
Peter, you like pressing shiny buttons?
I do. Shiny candy-like
Never knew
buttons. Look, see.
Peter,
I
did
think
you want to
we're
talk
done here.
about Shuko at all? Since you got that nice
yeah, we can.
sign behind you.
Well, that's just my cool thing. I almost made a Trekking Through Trek logo, because I can use the other side of the mirror. This was just an experiment I did to see if I could get a nice clean scan lines on a projection. So this is a laser that's bouncing off. That's the only reason it says Shuko-san. Maybe I should have made it say Wacko Media or something. But yeah, when we originally pitched this idea, it was to talk just briefly about the game and actually update Leo, since he's been missing the meetings. We're making a video game, a holo novel, that you can experience. Not that. I'm telling those people that Kim says I've been ignoring, so they're listening now in the future. We're making a holo novel we're writing it together. It's got multiple branching stories that you can do, and we're telling it in chapters, and we're working on chapter 1. And that's the update that we're at right now. Last time I talked to you has been a long time. We added the other characters, the not main star characters, one guest star and some extras now have fully realized characters. No, 2 guest stars. Sorry, forgot about Clive. Now have fully realized characters where they talk and move around and everything. We got the trucker. If you look on the Discord, I haven't even published this on the Shuko Sun Twitter yet, but if you look on the Discord, you'll see I got the trucker moving with his alien mouth, and he's emoting and stuff. He's looking great.
I love it.
We're adding the pilot. Rosie's like, what about me? That's way off. You're not in this chapter that we're working on right now, but that's where we're at. And I need you to take a picture of yourself so that I can make you in the game today. It needs to be today, because if I don't say today, you won't do it. So we got those characters going. We're talking about doing a table read next week during our meeting on Friday, where we will just get on the same page of what the kind of emotions they should be. And then we'll just break off and record the audio independently, which is better anyway, because you really don't want anybody like, do it better, right? So but you do need the context of how the line should be delivered.
Yeah.
The planet of galactic peace, right?
Right.
So that's what we're doing next week, and we're doing that in a hurry because I'm wrapping up this demo by the end of the summer, because I have a new gainful employment that's coming up that I'm pretty excited about. So we need to get that done by then. But to the people who do discover this, what we are talking about is Shuko Sun, and we've all been working really hard on it, and we're really hoping that people like it. It's a virtual reality game, so that's the closest thing to a holodeck we have right now.
Yeah. And
Sounds cool.
Yeah, no, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying making it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can't wait to play it.
Yeah, I'm excited for people to be able to see it, especially once we get all of the characters and everything into the demo. And
I've put all the characters in except for the important ones because I'm so scared. But I'm close.
I understand your feelings.
I've been pushing it off, but it's almost time to make those characters. So the main characters will probably go live this week, maybe, unless I find any excuse at all. Hey, James, how about playing Mass Effect?
Oh, that's why you said that today in the meeting.
Yeah. Oh, God, that's the chisel and the marble for real. Like, getting those 3 characters to look good is so scary. So
yeah,
everybody else looks great. I don't know why I'm afraid, but I'm afraid. So we're gonna wait.
But it's almost as if you've had this idea for, I don't know, well over a decade, and you've been like living and breathing this in the back of your brain, and seeing it realized is a big thing.
Yeah, I have to go to the back of my brain to get it, and it's a dungeon, and I'm a little kid with a crown, and my mom's got red hair. It's no fun. I don't want to do it. James Callis in the Starfleet
Our
suit.
Our background is not red right now,
right?
Hold on, let me go back.
The best part is I can say that without spoilers. Hey, I love the red background. I didn't notice that before. That's actually pretty odd.
I like it how blue is like okay and red is like
yeah.
The funny part is I could have said a spoiler version of that without ever seeing it. I could have just, because my head does have that. In my head are Starfleet officers that judge me, and I have to walk by them and sometimes sneak by them to get to the back of my head to get the character designs going. And oh man, how about a Mass Effect break, James? But soon, what's going to happen with that is once I have them designed, I'll have some examples of them speaking, which I will put onto the Lucidity Hollows Twitter feed.
Nice.
Yeah.
You got any questions on that, Leo? Because that's your update for the last month.
I mean, I've been watching the videos. I've seen the little alien guy talk.
Oh, good. You've seen the trucker?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really happy with the way he came out. I need to make a proper video. If I post that one, that's like every line he has. So I need to post
make
a
like
different
a smaller bit of just
or make him say something else. Maybe no, that would require Trey and everything. I can't do that. So our friend Trey Trackett is the one that's doing the voice for him. It's so good. I'm not changing that. I love the way.
Yeah, you should not.
That one's perfect.
Yeah.
he didn't know it, but he said that
see it, they will understand why. And
I
why
have
we're saying this.
presets saved for those audio filters too.
Oh, nice.
he did not know because it's a made up word, but he said the name of the planet wrong, and I left it because I love it. I love that it's being translated as a computer, and I love that the computer didn't get it right either. So
It sounds like the way that a guy like that would say that word too.
yes,
Right.
it's perfect. But he doesn't know. I'm pretty sure he doesn't know that. So
Right.
I'm keeping that. That's a canon thing now that those guys say the name of the planet that way.
That's fantastic.
All right, so that's our lucidity update.
Yeah.
So I think that's it for this episode. Thanks for joining me, guys. This is I'd say this went a little more successfully, so we can hear everybody.
Yes. Everyone's audible.
I need to make a change.
We've reached the bare minimum.
I didn't realize it until just now. The way I do my camera obscures the video, and I didn't realize I had set it up this way. If I interrupted you at all, Chris, I apologize because I couldn't see you.
You're fine.
Until Leo pointed out Chris, I was like, I don't see her. Oh my God, I probably just manned all over. So I will adjust this in a different place next time so that I will be able to see you and I will block myself.
That works. It's okay if you don't see me though.
Yeah, Chris, we're lucky that we're able to perceive Chris right now because it's not a very common.
It's very rare.
He's about to revoke
It is
that
always
permission.
a pleasure.
Oh no.
Thanks.
Indeed. All right. Well, thanks again, guys. Appreciate you joining me for this. And
Thanks for
we're gonna
having us.
We're going to try to do this again probably in 2 weeks because, we
Yeah.
don't know,
Oh.
wait another month. If I can get everybody together for it, we're here to have fun. So,
Moving
if
at
I'm here
warp
to do that,
speed
it's
now.
what I do.
And if
Yeah.
you had fun, make sure you like and subscribe and do all of that other YouTube stuff.
Yeah. Ring that bell. Follow us on Twitter. Our names are right here.
Yeah, because we're going to, I think we have enough now to actually start telling people about this show, so they don't just have to find it in the archives.
I think I have a sign off for us. Computer End Podcast.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you. Yeah.